Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned, we dive into the pond. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL true crime, unveiling dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, I go. We gon' get live in the shine, but then I'm not talking, baby, they got so. People go past in the world, no can you wait your life. Good now, you wait your love, we better hit that. Yeah, we hit that, hit that, better than money that blows. Epic, real true crime. I'm done with dark realities every time. This year. Epic, real true crime. I'm done with dark realities every time. Yeah, LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime. We going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL true crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden mark. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie, getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi.
Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to LTL True Crime. It is February 21st, 2024, and we're going to continue our conversation about what's going on down in Brockton, Massachusetts at Brockton High School. It's completely out of hand. The 4 school committee members that have stepped up on Monday, they had a press conference, and they are calling for the National Guard to come in and take control of the situation. When you have something like that that's going on in your community, and you have community leaders that are in place and they're not doing their job, and desperate times calls for community members to stand up and say, we need the National Guard because no one's taking control. That, to me, is telling me that people at the top are failing to do their job. If you're just coming into this and, you know, what is going on? What is going on? I'm going to play this quick video for you so you can get caught up a little bit of what we're talking about here. But they had an emergency meeting about 2 weeks ago, and then there was a meeting, a emergency press conference on this past Monday, where I said that 4 community leaders, school board community leaders, stood up and requested the National Guard. The mayor of Brockton, Bob Sullivan, is saying that this is not the way to control this situation. Governor Healy is saying this is not the way to control this situation. There are people that are on, teachers and students are saying this is not the way to fix this situation. Well, what is the way then? What is the plan? What is the plan? And this is not only something that is just happening now. There has been a history of this, and I will show you today the history of what has been going on in Brockton. But let me play this video first so you all get caught up to the latest at the Brockton High School.
Students don't have consequences for their behavior.
This year has killed me.
This needs to be urgent in your minds. We have to make changes, and we have to make them now.
Now to Brockton schools. An emergency safety meeting ended a little more than 2 hours ago. Teachers testified, one after the other, and what they said has left many concerned about keeping kids safe. NBC 10's Malcolm Johnson has the breaking details.
I suffer from PTSD and anxiety. And sadly, this year has killed me. I have this last month been one of those teachers that has called out probably twice a week because I can't do it.
Brockton High teachers
We are in chaos. We need help.
say the school is in crisis.
Dangerously high mental and emotional exhaustion of staff members from feeling unsafe, unheard, and unsupported.
Staff is fearful of students fighting each other and the teachers.
I was pushed into a locker. I was then pushed into a wall and stepped on.
The physical health
It is a hostile work environment, and people have to stay home for their mental health.
and mental health was discussed in an emergency meeting in front of the school committee Thursday night as emotionally exhausted teachers plead with their students.
I don't ask them to respect me because I'm a teacher. I don't ask them to respect me because I'm an elder. I ask them to respect me because that's how I treat them.
Tensions running high at the emergency meeting, with one person removed by police. The committee will now consider changes to a number of their policies. Among the issues, teacher absenteeism, bullying, violence, cell phone use, and vaping. The next meeting is set for next Tuesday, where the school committee will offer details on plans to improve safety at Brockton schools. Malcolm Johnson, NBC 10 Boston.
So that's what's going on in Brockton. And Ben, by the way, I did get your email. Thank you for that. And I will look forward to the response to that. But I wanted to show you this morning. You know, I got up this morning. This has been bugging me. We had such a great stream yesterday, getting this out there because no one is talking about it. You know, I think this is something that's going to get buried. And I want to take you through basically a timeline. And then what we'll do is we'll go back to that school board meeting that we were listening to yesterday and play the second half. But this morning I woke up and I said to the mayor of Brockton, and I want to make sure that everybody understands here, I have no ties to Brockton. Okay. I have no ties to Brockton. I didn't go to Brockton High School, but that doesn't necessarily mean as a resident here in the great state of Massachusetts that I cannot stand up and speak for the people of Brockton, for that community, and get some eyes on this and get some change, some real change down there, because the buck, as you're going to see, has been passed along for a very long time, at least over the last 10 years from what I can go back and look at and research. And I'll show you some evidence of that. And then there, you know, there's going to be something in my opinion here that maybe be leading up to why this situation is so out of control. What is the plan? What is the plan going forward? Okay. You know, you're going to you have a week off now. Is the mayor and the chief of police and is the governor sitting in on a meeting and saying, what are we going to do here when the school reconvenes after February vacation? What things are we going to put in place here to help protect the students and the teachers? I don't see any of that. I hear none of that. And I'll pull up an article here today. The mayor of Brockton saying that bringing in the National Guard is not going to be the solution. Then what is the solution? And I asked him this morning in a tweet. Bob Sullivan, we've been following the recent request by Brockton School Committee members for the National Guard to step in and protect the students, teachers from out-of-control chaos at Brockton High School. You, among others, say it's not the answer. Since the inquiry, what's the plan and strategy that you have in place to make sure that students, teachers can feel safe and protected while on campus at Brockton High? When will you start implementing the plan and strategy? I haven't heard anything. I didn't expect an answer, but I'll continue to tweet. I'll continue to put this out there. I'll continue to talk about this. They need change. And I want to make sure that everybody understands this is not only happening here in Brockton, Massachusetts. I'm sure this is happening in a lot of schools across Massachusetts. This is happening in schools where you are. This is happening in your children's schools right now. You know, our country is out of control. You know, education used to be one of the highest things. And we read an article yesterday that Massachusetts supposedly ranks fifth in the nation in education safety. And what was the other? There was another category, education, safety, and I forget the other category, but they did a survey that it's supposed to rank fifth across the nation. I don't see this here. I don't see fifth. I don't see it. So what is the plan? What is the plan going forward? You have teachers that are afraid to leave the classroom to use the restroom. They wait until after school is over. You have teachers that are afraid to go out in the halls or take a lunch or leave their classroom because the chaos is out of hand. And you got to remember, Brockton High, 4,300 students, 4,300 students. And one teacher estimated that around 1,300 students are the students that are disrupting. And believe me, they're not all bad students. They're not all bad teachers there. There's a lot of teachers that care. And 4 of the 7 committee meetings members had to stand up and say something, because you know why? They don't want blood on their hands if something majorly goes down. And it's looking like it's getting to that point. Someone's going to seriously get hurt here. Seriously get hurt. And they don't want to wait until that point. They don't want to wait until that point. Nor would I. Hang on one second. I just want to bring up a video from yesterday. Let's replay this if you didn't see it yesterday on the show. This was the emergency meeting they had on Monday.
To reach out to the governor for some support. So the letter was sent out on Friday. Our mayor did reply that he received the letter within a half hour of receiving it. And he did forward the letter to Governor Healy. And I mean, that's all I have to say is our letter was drafted, sent out, and we're just looking for a little bit of support within Brockton Public Schools. So I'm going to turn this over to Mr. Rodriguez.
Thank you, Tony Rodriguez, Ward 4 School Committee member. As my colleague stated, we did send a letter out to the mayor requesting support from the governor, requesting the National Guard be deployed to the city of Brockton to give us support. This isn't something that is negative. The National Guard does bring positivity. We use them to deploy COVID vaccinations, but where we are in the city of Brockton, with the deficit that created this mess, we're looking for support with the National Guard to come in and act as substitute teachers, hall monitors, to make sure that the high school is safe. And it's not just the high school, it also includes our middle schools and elementary schools. It's across the district. Brockton is not the only community that is dealing with student violence. It's across the Commonwealth. We've seen Framingham dealing with the same issue, but I hope the governor does meet with us, and we'll make that request. I know some people don't support it, but if you support safety in our schools, you will support the National Guard to come in here and keep our students safe. And I could leave it to my other colleagues to make any other statements.
Hi, my name is Anna Oliver, Ward 3 School Committee. I know there's a lot of negative comments regarding the National Guard coming out here, but we're not asking them to deploy a whole army to our school. We're asking for support, especially with the teacher shortage throughout Commonwealth of Massachusetts. But not only that, I also want to highlight that we have some great students in Brockton. They are doing excellent work. They're coming in, getting their education. They're, following the policy, the authority with the educators. But we do have some that continue to not do what they're supposed to do.
Dawn, I talked about that yesterday, and that's a great point that you brought this up. I talked about this. This all starts at home. It starts with the parents. And I'm speaking to the parents of Brockton right now, of these potential kids that could be causing a problem. Do you know where your kid is right now? Do you know what your kid is doing in school? This starts at home. And this is across all walks of life. So don't think that this is just a race thing or a sex thing or whatever. This is all walks of life in Brockton. This is all walks of life across the nation. Do you know where your child is? Are you having conversations with them? Are you disciplining them? Or are you just allowing them to run rampant? This is why things like this happen in school. We trust the state. We trust the government to educate our kids. When a kid goes into a state-owned school, they have the right to protection. If you're going to educate my child, and I don't have children, but I'm talking on the front of if I did have children, if you are saying that my child requires all these uh, uh, this education to move through life, and you want it to go through the state, then you are in charge of protecting my child when they're at school. You're failing to do your job. The buck is getting passed too often. The time is to act now. You have people that are crying out, literally crying. You have school teachers that are calling in sick because they don't want to be there because of the violence. No one is listening. Oh, we're looking into it. We're looking into it. We're looking into it. Well, how long are you going to look into it? Are you going to wait until something majorly happens here? We can't afford to waste that time. Do your job.
We do it, and that's what we need help with.
Good morning. My name is Claudia Gomes, Ward 2 School Committee. One thing that I wanted to quickly touch base is to let everybody know that I know that the first thought that comes to mind when you hear National Guard is uniform and arms. And that's not the case. There are people like us, they're educated, they're trained, and we just need their assistance right now. We need more staff to support our staff and help the students, learn, have a safe environment. So that's the case for us. We need the hands, and they have it. So why not provide their assistance? That's all I have to say. Thank you.
Just to close off,
and you don't think that these committee members are being shamed right now in their own community for standing up, for not wanting blood on their hands if something goes down at Brockton High? Do you think that they're not being shunned and shied away from right now? Of course they are. That's why they didn't take questions at the end.
we don't want to make this a lot of question and answers, because we act as a whole body, and this is 4 members that are taking the leadership role to making sure that our schools are safe. It starts at the top, and our chair has failed to bring us together and unite us so that we can come with a concrete plan to make sure that the schools are safe and making sure our staff is safe as well. You could see that a few weeks ago, that when we called the meeting, there was the 4 of us that gave the staff the space to speak about what is really going on in our district. And that was just a light on the high school and not what's going on in the middle schools or in our elementary schools as well. So,
and did you hear what he just said? It's not going on in the high school. It's going on in our elementary schools, in our middle schools, and then to our high schools. So this is not even just at the high school level. This is when kids are just entering school. And what is happening? The discipline is not there at the lower levels. And as you ascend up to your grade, up to high school, that behavior is tolerated. There's not any discipline. So the buck just keeps getting passed along and along and along and along. And what happens is you are failing to educate the students because they don't care. You need to put something in place to say, hey, look, if you're going to screw up, you're out of here. You will be suspended. You will be kicked out. And listen, I'm not the person here to make all of the decisions. I don't know how to run an education system. There's people in place that are to do that, but they're not doing their job. That is their job to come up with the solution. But this has gone on too long. People are getting hurt. We read articles about a young girl that was almost beaten to death inside the cafeteria. We just saw an example of a fight that went on. And that's not happening, every other day. This is daily. Kids are not going to school. Kids are just leaving. People that don't even belong in the high school are coming in. There's fights constantly in the hallway. There's students rushing through the hallways to record the fights and put them on Snapchat and Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, Instagram, whatever it is. You have vaping, you have smoking pot out of control in the hallways, and whatever other drugs are running rampant through Brockton. We got to get control on this. If we're the 5th ranked education system here in Massachusetts, is this showing the quality of that education?
we took it upon ourselves to show that we are just not leaders when we convene as a group or outside of those meetings, and that's why we call for this. But I do employ the governor, and I hope every city official that is watching in the community, that we do need to take our schools back into control and making sure that our students have a safe learning environment. Because what's going on at the high school is disheartening, and kids are losing precious learning time when kids are causing chaos. Thank you, and have a good day.
How much funding was
Another thing too, myself, not speaking for the members, we do need to look at chapter 222 and repeal that because it's not working. It's across the district, and I employ the community and the residents that are watching that chapter 222 needs to go because this is what it's causing for our district. Thank you very much.
Well, why is the National Guard necessary? We need to know this. You know why, lady? I'm going to speak. I'm going to speak right now. I'm going to speak on this platform because, and shame on you if you have any control of this school and you're asking that stupid question right now. And if you are in a position of a leader in that school right now, you know why the National Guard is being called upon? Because you're not doing your job. The job is not getting done. Clearly not getting done. Why do you have to call in the National Guard? Why is it necessary? We want answers. Do you not see what's going on and what has been going on? Unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, and here was the response. February 20th at 12:05 p.m. City official stance on National Guard deployment at Brockton High School. This was yesterday. Could deploying the National Guard to Brockton High School be an effective stopgap measure while the school administrators get disciplinary issues under control? That's for Governor Maura Healey to decide. But while 4 Brockton student committee members have officially requested such a response, many of the other city leaders, including the Brockton Mayor Robert Sullivan, remain deeply opposed to the idea. Several city councilors told Mass Live this week that they found the request shocking, and some went as far to say calling it embarrassing. This is the response. It's getting denied. Instead, school administrators should do more addressing truancy and disciplinary issues, the counselors argued, and the internally divided school committee needs to work together to find solutions. No, you are the leaders. You need to find solutions. And then when they want to impose a solution, you don't want them to use that solution. So what are you going to do, Mayor Sullivan? What are you going to do, Governor Healey? Are you convening in a meeting this week while students are on vacation and coming up with a plan? And then when we convene back in school on Monday, you're going to execute that plan? Because I haven't heard anything. We had the meeting yesterday, the emergency meeting. Actually, I'm sorry. We had the emergency meeting, press conference, on Monday. It is now Wednesday. I haven't heard anything in the media. Plan being executed by governor. Plan being executed by mayor. What is the solution? We're going to just go back on Monday and back to where we were? People getting hurt, teachers not wanting to go to school. And it sucks because these teachers want to be there. They want to educate these children because they care. Not one of them did stand up during that meeting, and we'll play that again today. We'll play the remainder of it. That said, I don't want to be there. I want to be there because I care about these kids. You heard about the coach that got his arm broken in a fight. He said, I get to school at about 7 o'clock and I don't leave until about 7 o'clock at night. I don't have to stay there until 7 o'clock at night, but I do because I care about these kids. So what are you going to do to put in place to protect these teachers and these students? Obviously nothing. Quote, calling out the National Guard in fears that there's nothing else that the public schools can do. But is this really true? Ward 4 counselor Susan Nicocastro questioned. In a letter sent to Brockton City and the state officials last week, the 4 school officials claim that over the last few months, Brockton High School has experienced a disturbing increase in violent and drug-related incidents. This is not just over the last few months. I found things all the way back to 2015, and I'm going to show that. This has been happening well over 10 years. Students are wandering the halls, getting in fights, and causing classroom disruptions, they wrote. The letter penned by Ward 2 member Claudia Gomes, Ward 3 member Anna Oliver, and Ward 4 member Tony Rodriguez, and Ward member 6 Jose Asic also asserts that understaffing at the schools have led to an increase in the number of students leaving the school without permission and allowing to trespassers to enter the school unauthorized. You have people that are walking into these schools that are not supposed to be there. This is, and I talked about it yesterday. This is a modern day Lean on Me. Elizabeth, New Jersey, East Side High. I had flashbacks to that movie when I started reading and hearing about this. This was all over the Rhode Island radios yesterday. I haven't even heard anything in Massachusetts radio about this because they're burying it. All in all, the committee members painted a picture of a school environment that's unsafe for both students and staff. During an emergency meeting about these issues on January 31st, an educator said that that she has been pushed back into a locker and stepped on, and many said they fear their safety. We do not take our schools back and under control to make sure our students have a safe learning environment, because what's going on in the high school is disheartening. The kids are losing precious learning time when kids are causing chaos, Rodriguez says during a press conference on Monday. Let's see. Of the 6 Brockton City Council members Mass Live spoke to on Monday, only one said they supported deploying the National Guard at Brockton High School, expecting uniformed soldiers to control the hallways of a public school and to address issues that we need to address. Stunned is the only word I can use, Counselor at Large Winthorpe Farewell Jr. said. Stunned. No, I'm stunned that you're not doing your job. I'm stunned that you don't have a plan. Ward 1 council member, who served on the Brockton School Committee for 14 years, becoming a city councilor, said that he thought talk of deploying the National Guard to deal with students' disciplinary issue was unprecedented. Unprecedented. The National Guard doesn't do that, nor should the state ever allow something like that. It takes specialized training to handle youth behavior issues, training that the National Guard doesn't have, Farewell said. Furthermore, National Guard members sent into schools could be from any community across the state, he said. So you're saying that it takes specialized training to handle youth behavior issues, clearly something that you're not trained in either. Because look what's going on. There's no guarantee that we would have people assigned here who are familiar with the city setting, who are familiar with city of Brockton and the issues that we have, Farewell said. Again, burying this, passing the buck, I guarantee you nothing is going to get done about this. And it's going to get into a very serious thing where a teacher gets seriously hurt, or some students get seriously hurt, or possibly dead. You're clearly seeing how this committee and how these people on this committee are responding to this. They don't want to do anything to help. Many counselors said that the Brockton High School's administration either aren't enforcing its rules or policies well enough, or aren't enforcing them consistently across the schools. Then they need to be fired. And you need to appoint people that are going to enforce the rules and the policies of the Massachusetts schools, of Brockton High School. I understand. I came into understanding that they have a new principal there that's been there for about a month. And we want to give that opportunity to that person to make a change. But I haven't seen anything. I haven't seen a policy. I haven't seen them speak. I haven't seen the mayor speak publicly. I haven't seen the governor speak publicly. They've had a couple of days to respond. There's nothing in print. I think the committee is more focused on its own pride than the school's pride. So far this year, the committee has failed to select a new vice chair to serve with the mayor, who leads the committee despite voting on several times. The failure is to reprise the disagreements from last year when it took the committee 3 rounds of voting to select Elders as vice chair. This is a mess. This is a mess. The split between members on whether to call the National Guard the step up that fails along with the same lines as the vice chair disagreement. Nicastro said that it found it's troubling that 4 members chose to act on their own in asking for the deployment. They acted on their own because they don't want the blood on their hands if something majorly goes down. Do you understand? I don't understand how 4 people can decide what needs to be done when there's a member of the deliberative body of 8, she said. When you get elected and you're elected to be on a team, why wouldn't you work within your team to decide what to do? No, that's so you want it your way. That's what it is, because you know that you're in the majority is going to vote here, and you're in the minority, so you're angry. Oh, they don't want to work with us. This is insane. This is not going to stop. I'm telling you. So let's take a look back. 2015. I found this, and I'm not going to read all of these articles, but I just want to bring some light to as some things that have been happening over the last 10 years in Brockton. Brockton high school students leave school and launch peaceful protests. I remember this because I remember actually when I read back and read this article, I saw a brief on this back in 2015. Brockton, dozens of students walk out of Brockton High School during the school day on Thursday to protest a system of discipline using demerits they say is unfair. So the students didn't want it then. The teachers didn't want to stand up and do anything about it. And they were angry because they were getting demerits, because they were getting disciplined. Can't do that. Can't discipline anything. Can't get anything in order, because if we don't have it our way, we're going to stamp our feet and we're going to cry like little babies and run out of school. Well, clearly, it hasn't worked over the past 10 years. And now it's such a powder keg there that people are almost getting killed. That's how bad the violence is there. So what happened? What happened to the students that left? Well, let's take a look. A few days later, article published. No punishment for students in Brockton High walkout. So nothing happened. So you've already set the tone. 10 years ago, you started to set this tone among the high school students. And probably, like when kids talk, well, just do it. Nothing's going to happen anyway. And clearly nothing has happened. Brockton, there will be no punishment for dozens of students who walked out of Brockton High School on Thursday to protest a demerit system they called unfair. Boo hoo hoo. But if it happens again, they won't be so lucky. No one is getting suspended, although they could, said State Representative Michelle Dubois, Democrat Brockton, who met with Superintendent Kate Smith and Principal Sharon Wadler Friday. Dubois said that no one is getting suspended for walking out, but they are incurring demerits for the missing classes, which could cause a suspension. No discipline, but we're going to go back and we're just going to write something on a piece of paper. If you do it again, you're going to get in trouble. No, you should have thrown their asses out. Teach them a lesson. But you just continue to encourage that behavior, clearly. Clearly. I also found this. Let me find my back in October 11, 2023, Brockton Public Schools, shameful student neglect. Massachusetts as a state has a great history of providing public and private education. In the recent past, it has been prided itself on standing up for equal and affordable education for all. Some of the oldest and most prestigious institutions in higher learning in the Western world are based in the state, attracting students from all around the globe. For a state that is a foundation to allow what's happening to some school children in Brockton is beyond comprehension. There are estimated to be hundreds of Brockton public school students still in the high school cafeteria or classrooms with no teacher, or maybe the teacher's aide or paraprofessional, as Peter Roby reported in last week's banner. Brockton's enrollment is predominantly Black or Hispanic. Students from the district layoffs have occurred because of large budget deficits in the school system. Well, maybe this. Maybe all these problems are happening because they ain't got no money. They have no money. Extremely dismayed. Brockton School facing $14 million shortfall as superintendent goes on medical leave. This superintendent didn't want to put up with it. I'm out of here. See you later. See you later. I'm out. Peace. $14 million? I don't know. Brockton, Mass. Brockton Public Schools is short $14 million this year. This is last year. This is September of 2023. This is when this started to come out. Is short $14 million this year, and its school district superintendent has taken a medical leave. Peace. I'm out of here. It's all up to you. Mayor Robert Sullivan announced Thursday night during a 4-hour executive session, leaving the community outraged. Sullivan, the school committee members, left a meeting late in the evening and came out to walk to reporters, announcing that they discovered a $14 million budget shortfall for 2023 and 2024 school year. Sullivan also said Superintendent Mike Thomas did not attend the emergency meeting because he is currently out on medical leave. You have people that are in the position of power that are failing. And the beat goes on. Rumors. What Brockton, this is September 6th from the Enterprise. Rumors. What Brockton School Department says is true and false about $14 million deficit. So here comes the cover-up. Here comes the cover-up. Let's listen. Let's go back and listen. Here's Mayor Sullivan, Brockton.
It was recently brought to the attention of the Brockton School Committee that an approximate $14 million deficit exists for FY23's budget. Mr. Thomas informed the committee that he would be out on an extended medical leave, and he did not attend our executive session this evening. The committee is acutely focused on formulating and implementing a leadership plan that provides the support and services and the levels our students and families deserve. As mayor and a BPS alum and a parent of a student in the BPS system, I'm extremely dismayed. Collectively, we are all dismayed by the situation, and we are committed to ensuring that we will rectify this situation, appoint new leadership, and move forward with our strategy and our concise strategy to deliver the best schools for our teachers, our staff, our students, our parents, and of course, our guardians.
You've had, wait a minute. I can't hear I can't believe my ears here. You've had almost 6 months. What was the claim at the end? We're gonna fix this. We're gonna fix the strategy. What? I gotta hear that again if I can get this to work. I don't think I'm going to get the video to play again, but let's. You've had 6 months. You just claimed that you were going to put in new leadership. You were going to fix the problem. You were going to go forward. Does that look like what's going on here in Brockton High School as of today in February 21st, 2024? Does that look like real leadership that's going on? Following a hectic 48 hours from Brockton School Committee last week, during which Superintendent Mike Thomas announced he's taking a medical leave. Peace, I'm out of here. I don't want to deal with it. James Cobb was voted acting superintendent, and the committee announced a recently discovered $14.4 million budget deficit. Families and students prepared to start upcoming school year on Wednesday. They have no money. Where's the money? That's why they can't fix the problem. That's why it's out of control in the Brockton High School. They had no money. The school board twice met behind closed doors as rumors of embezzlement, missing money from Federal Bureau of Investigation presents in Brockton High School, circling widely in the community. Now the schools department has issued a written statement vehemently denying those rumors. Of course. Here's what happened last week when the school department had to say what had to say about the $14.4 million deficit. On Thursday evening, August 31st, the committee held a closed-door emergency meeting, shutting out members of the public and the press. That night, Mayor Robert Sullivan announced a brief press conference that Thomas informed the committee he'd be taking medical leave. Peace out. I'm gonna take a break. You guys figure it out. And the district official learned after of a $14 million deficit last year's budget and said very little more. Peace. You guys deal with it. I'm out of here. I'm going to take a break. I'm out. The next day, Friday, September 1st, in another emergency meeting, the committee voted to appoint James Cobb as an interim superintendent. The members had also voted unanimously to launch a third-party audit investigation of the budget deficit. Every dime was spent to help kids and support kids and the staff of Brockton Public Schools. Every single dime. Can you see that? Do you think that's $14 million being put to use there in Brockton High School right now, and in the Brockton school system? Does that reflect $14 million of spending? I got to read that quote again. Every dime was spent to help kids and support kids and staff of the Brockton Public Schools, Thomas said in a Friday night phone interview with Enterprise. Everything is well documented. Well, let's see it. Let's see the documents. Where did that $14 million go to? And this is where I urge you in your community, if you live in Brockton, you have every single right to go to these committee meetings and raise these questions. Get it on the record. We want to see where the money is, because clearly it's not being spent in Brockton High School. Look at the violence that's going on in there. Look at the teachers that don't want to be there. Look at the teacher shortages. Look at the failed education system. And the funny thing about it, people tend to forget about these things. And this is only 6 months ago. But the people that are going, those parents that are going to these committee meetings and standing up and saying, hey, my kids are getting hurt. What are you going to do to fix it? They forget about this. But that's why I wanted to bring this back out. These are questions that you need to start asking if you live in Brockton and you have a child that's in that school system. Where's that money? That money should be going to protect and educate our children and protect and educate our teachers. Although Thomas admitted blaming for the overspending the budget money, he denied any wrongdoings and welcomed an investigation. I welcome any audit or investigation into that, and I understand why they have to do that. Then on Tuesday afternoon, September 5th, the school district released a written statement in the form of facts. Here's what they said. Excuse me. According to the Brockton Public School Chief Communications Officer Jesse Hodges Silva, the $14.4 million deficit isn't accounted for, but the district simply overspent $14.4 million above its budget last school year. A deficit occurs when the expenses exceed revenues. Where the hell did that money go? Hodge Silva said in the statement on Tuesday. In this instance, the existence of the deficit means that the district spending exceeded approval budget by approximately $14.4 million in fiscal year 2023. Is a deficit for 2023 or 24 school year. The $14.4 million figured out how much the district overspent that fiscal year 2023, which ended in June 30th. BSP officials learned that the deficit after the school year came to a close. Of course, it's always after. The enterprise reported in May that the district's fiscal year 2024 budget would be cut by roughly $18 million due to the drop in enrollment and transportation costs. In the light of the budget cuts, Brockton laid off over 130 teachers and staff in order to cut costs for 2023 and 2024 school year. That's why you have a problem in control of this high school. $18 million cut, 130 teachers cut. BSP also cut several programs across the district and scaled back operations at Brockton High School to make up the difference. I want to know what programs were cut. In the $18 million deficit for the upcoming school year is unrelated to the $14.4 million deficit recently discovered from the previous school year. Is the FBI involved? No, neither the district nor the mayor's office has been contacted with the law enforcement entity regarding the deficit, the school department fact said. Kristen Satira, a spokesperson for the Federal Bureau of Investigation, Boston's office, confirmed the Enterprise Friday that no FBI agents were involved in any activity in Brockton on Thursday related to the school's district. Regrettably, this is a rumor that spread Thursday night, just as the committee entered its first executive session about the deficit, and it was impacted the lens through which the community is now viewing this matter, Hodge Silva said. Where did the district overspend? Thomas said BPS primarily overspent their budget for staffing, transportation, and security. Security! Security! Security. They quoted security in this article. They quoted security in this article. What security? Tuesday's statement from BSP echoed that Thomas told the Enterprise last week, although exact data won't be released until the audit is complete. When did the audit get complete? I'll dig. I'll find out more. As of this written data shows that the budget was executed due to the transportation costs, including mandated door-to-door transportation, special education services related to psychiatric evaluations, and out-of-district placements and staffing payroll, Hodges Silva said. What we still don't know. District officials said that many details would be related until the investigation is completed, released. I'm sorry, won't be released until the investigation is complete and the findings are available in the public. There are still questions that remain unanswered. I haven't seen anything. Ben, who did the audit? Security. They quoted security in the article. What security? The goal is to better understand the unbudgeted expenses so we can learn from while providing taxpayers a detailed explanation from the independent third-party organizations, Hodge Silva said. We recognize the breakdown in trust that has been caused in this. We recognize the breakdown in trust that has been caused by the matter. We do not want to add to that by rushing to release information that needs to be thoroughly vetted by an outside auditing firm. I'm going to dig more on that. When did the audit happen? When did the audit happen? What was the conclusion of the audit? I haven't found anything published about an audit. They said security in the article. Security. Security. I love that. That's a good one. And the beat goes on. The beat goes on. Right here. back September 11, 2023. So a week later, whistleblower claims he repeatedly warned Brockton officials about school district financial situation. Brockton, Mass. Christopher Carrera has worked for 22 years as a Brockton Public Schools assistant financial officer. As the word got out, the district overspent its 2023 budget by $14 million, though Carrera said he was put on paid leave. Now attorney Timothy Burke said that he plans to file a whistleblower lawsuit against the city of Brockton and its school committee as on Carrera's behalf, claiming Carrera sounded alarms about the district's overspending for months. He's been cast in the light that somehow doesn't do his job when it is exact opposite, Burke said. The only one doing their job and who the public should be commending is Chris Carrera. Burke recently provided nearly 20 of Carrera's emails dating back as far as July of 2022 about the issues with the public school budget. One email on July 21st, 2022 explains, in part, we cannot continue to enter into contracts that we have accounted for in the current budget. If we don't get a handle on this on the transportation budget and address management issues that are in the department, we are heading for very serious budget shortfall in fiscal 2023. Carrera warns in another email on October 29, 2022. In an email dated March 28th, Carrera offered a suggestion. We continue to receive police detail invoices for traffic duty, he said. I recommended that we terminate these details. The budget cannot support these additional expenditures. On July 27, 2023, Carrera raised red flags saying we cannot afford to pay staff that were not budgeted. This is beyond irresponsible. He has been made the scapegoat, if you will, for all the failures of his supervisors in both the city and school district level, Burke said. Brockton Mayor Robert Sullivan announced his $14 million budget deficit last month. The question of what school officials knew and when the officials knew such information is now under investigation. No audit. Of course, this got swept under the carpet. Quote, as mayor and as a product of the Brockton Public Schools, my goal right now is how to fix it and make sure it can never happen again, Sullivan said. This is almost 6 months ago. It's still not fixed. And now we're at the part, like I said, at the point of a powder keg at Brockton High School. In addition to a private investigator, the schools committee on September 1st voted to appoint Dr. James Cobbs as an acting superintendent. Thomas later spoke with 7 News, admitting that he spent too much money on staffing while defending the decisions he made. You know what this was? Let's spend a whole bunch of money on staffing, bring in a bunch of people to not do their job and sit around and collect a paycheck. That's what happened here. And now you're seeing the ultimate failure in the system, because now we're 6 months out, $14 million is unaccounted for, and we have this huge powder keg that's going on in Brockton High School. And not only there, we're hearing in the middle schools and the lower levels as well, too. This is out of hand. All right, let's go back to that school committee meeting that I was playing yesterday. Hopefully we can get through the rest of this, but I want everybody to understand what is going on in Brockton. This was back on January 31st, 2024. You have students and teachers speaking up and saying what the conditions are like at Brockton High. We're on a break. We'll come back from the break.
Take a break, Mr. Gomes. Let's just take a 2-minute break at this time.
I'm just going to fast forward.
Heartening to witness the erosion of respect, the prevalence of profanity, and the alarming disregard for basic safety measures within our school community. I want to raise awareness to these issues and rally support for positive change. You might remember me, I was here in November. As a floor teacher, we are the first lines of defense. Today was the first time in a long time that we have felt our voice has been heard. We met with Principal McCaskill, and he heard our concerns, but he cannot do this alone. I will tell you, I'm going to go off topic a little bit from what I had after hearing some people. I will tell you a couple of personal stories. I was physically assaulted by a student when I asked for a pass several months ago. She grabbed my hand, trying to rip the pass out of my hand. I proceeded to back up into the stairwell to disengage from her. She proceeded to step forward towards me and push me. Now, I have a lot of trauma about stairwells because many years ago, when the Cape Verdean Prime Minister came to visit and I was bringing cream upstairs to Little Theater, I missed the last 5 stairs and cracked my head open and got 23 stitches. I was told by an administrator after this happened, well, she said she didn't do it. As a teacher, I have access. As a floor teacher, I'm able to look at the cameras. I was able to find the information on the camera and show that she had grabbed me. I was not able to show that she pushed me because it was in a stairwell. As a teacher, I think I should be given, and as a floor teacher for almost 15 years and a teacher of 32 years, I think I should be given at least the benefit of the doubt when I say a student pushed me or grabbed me. I would never say that lightly. Until this year, I've been physically touched by one student in 30 years. This year, it's been 6 times. Most recently, the beginning of this week, when I asked for a pass and a student whacked at my hand and I smacked myself in the face. And I said to him, "You just hit me. Get out of my face or I'll do it again." It was his response to me. It's unfortunate. It makes me sad. I just recently, back in September, spent almost $19,000 buying back 2.5 years so that I can retire early. I'm 56 years old. I have to wait till my 57th birthday to get my 80%. I will miss my students desperately, but I will not miss those halls every day. I will not miss being called the D rider, being called an annoying bee, being called numerous names in numerous languages. We need to, the school committee as a group, I was so happy this summer when we said we were going to have a cell phone policy. It made my summer. I said, finally, I was the one who was on when they wanted to let cell phones be used in the cafeterias and before lunch and after school. I said, we're opening a Pandora's box. It's just going to get worse. This is the biggest problem. I understand that, but I want you to understand that the wandering happens because they're meeting with the phones. The evasiveness. There is a 14-minute YouTube video on the day in the life of Brockton High, and it does not show us in a very good light.
Oh, let's find that. Let's find that. Let's see if we can locate that video. Let me see. I don't think I'm going to be able to play this. Yeah, I'm not going to be able to play it. It's like age restricted, and I don't want to get whacked here. By the way, I think I probably have some Free Karen Reed supporters in here. Let me just do this. A defense motion just came over, and I want to just pull that up really quick. And I appreciate my source for getting that over to me. So we're going to pause real quick in the middle of this, and let me just bring this up if I can find the document that I just downloaded. Hang on one second, and then we'll get back to this hearing. But there are rumors that Karen's court date, and I have to 100% confirm this, is still on the 26th, but has been moved to 9 a.m. So it will not be at 2 p.m. That's what sources are telling me. Hang on one second. This document's going to fight me all the way. So I just want to go through this. I'm not going to read through the 30 pages of it. If you are on the John O'Keefe Facebook group, it is on there, but there's been a motion that has been filed defendant's motion for sanctions for disqualification of the Norfolk District Attorney and memorandum in support therefore. Hang on one second. So it has been confirmed at 9 a.m. So Karen's hearing will be on the 26th, 2024 at 9 a.m. So the 2 o'clock start time has been moved to 9 a.m. I'm looking at the court, I guess, schedule right now. Someone just sent me a screenshot of it, and it will be in front of Bev. So I wanted to let everybody know about that. Now comes the defendant, Karen Reed, respectfully urges the honorable court to sanction and prosecute for constitutional due process violations for the violations of ethical requirements imposed by Massachusetts rule of professional conduct and for egregious misrepresentations of the tribunal and opposing counsel. Additionally, the defendants moves to disqualify the Norfolk District Attorney because there is a clear interest that the pursuit of justice in the outcome of this prosecution further supports the motion of the defendant relies on arguments below. All right, I'm not going to go through all 30 pages right now. Probably won't do all of it because you're all education. You can read it. And, maybe I'll go through some of the points tonight on my live at 8 p.m. But I just wanted to let everybody know this is what's going on in Karen Reed's case right now. Okay, let me just pull up that video. We'll go back to Brockton High because that is what the main source of this stream is today. And let's continue to play here.
The last individual that signed in tonight hearing of is Michelle Henson. Ms. Henson, please. Good evening.
I can't believe what I heard from these teachers. I can't believe the trauma from these people, from these students. I got a video from someone, from a teacher, showing. So I'm just going to say to all of you right here, I don't care about your bickering. I don't care about your shit. And yes, I said it. Because this ain't anything personal against any of you. You know that. You know me longer than any of these people, Mr. Mayor, you do. But enough is enough. And I promise you, I will be one of the people calling you to find out what you're doing to solve what I heard here, to hear teachers cry, to hear teachers say they're afraid.
Lady's amazing.
Oh, hell no. Not on my watch. Not, I have a niece in this school. My husband's blood walks through that school. Not on my watch. I will be calling. And whoever is vice chair, you're going to meet the dragon.
I love this lady, right? The Rita
That's
Brockton.
it.
That's the Rita Brockton right there. That's the Rita Lombardo of Brockton. I love it. She said, I'm calling you. I hope she does. Let's make
So
sure
that does
Sullivan's hot on the
conclude,
collar
hearing
here.
of visitors, agenda item 4. We will continue with the agenda tonight. Agenda 5 is discussion of Brockton High School safety and security. And
Oh, this
before
should
we
be
get into that, I just want to say a couple different things. Point of information, Sergeant Mike Livingston, all of us know Mike. Mike wasn't able to join us tonight for a family matter. But we do, and Chief Brenda Perez also couldn't join us. But Brenda was at the high school today for an hour and 45 minutes with Kim Gibson, the BEA president, with the acting superintendent and his team as well. But she has sent, we have 2 captains. You can't forget the name because it's both Hallisey. We also have Brockton School Officer Campbell, who is the day shift leader. They are here as well tonight as well. All of us here, all of us on the school committee have seen the videos, and they're terrible. The one I saw Friday was a brutal assault. That was an assault.
Well, what are you going to do about it?
Assault, a shot put, kicking someone. As soon as I saw it, I called Brenda Perez.
Yeah, but you're not doing anything about it. I mean, this is bad. This is back in January. This is back on January 31st, 2024. You've had almost a month to figure this out. Almost a month to put a plan in place, and you still haven't done anything. 4 committee members had to stand up this past Monday and get up in front of the news media and call for the National Guard to straighten this out. You're not doing your job. You said, oh, this is awful. Oh, I saw it. I saw everything. Oh, this is awful. Yeah, you've seen it, but you haven't done anything. Oh, we're looking into it. We're looking into it. You're not doing anything. You're failing. Wake up.
And I got in touch with the doctor. And I said, we have to do something. And we met Monday. And in my office Monday was Principal McCaskill, acting superintendent, Chief Perez, Mike Livingston, the sergeant, city solicitor, Megan Bridges was there as well. Kathy Ehlers called in from the school committee.
Throw it on the back of everybody else. You are the mayor.
Side. And it was a listening session, but it was also a planning session.
Where's
And
the
then,
plan?
because of the school committee, and we can agree to disagree, but we all agree that safety is paramount, and we take an oath to help the kids and help the staff. Joy Zazak reached out to me on Sunday.
This is almost a month ago. And students are still getting in fights. Students are still getting beat. Teachers are still afraid to leave their classrooms to use the restroom during school hours. They wait until after school.
And she and Tony Rodriguez and Anna Oliver and Claudio Gomes had sent a letter to me as well. We all have a shared vision. That's why we're here tonight. We have to come up with substantial, beneficial safety mechanisms.
Okay.
We have to come
What
up
is
with
it?
solutions
We've been
tonight.
waiting.
We're not going to have all the answers tonight, but we have to act together.
When are we going to
We
start
have
having
to act
answers?
together. I went to Brockton High. I graduated in 88. My wife graduated in 89. My father walked those halls for 31 years as a teacher. Now, some people have said, well, Sullivan sends his kids to Catholic schools. Not all my kids go to Catholic schools, but I'm proud for faith-based. Nothing against Brockton Public Schools. I love Brockton High School. I love Brockton High School. You wouldn't be here tonight if you didn't love Brockton High School and Brockton Public Schools. And nobody up here would run for office if we didn't have a shared vision for a better BPS. So to see a teacher in tears breaks all of our hearts. So we have to come up with a plan.
This is amazing.
Suna Castro from the
It's
city
almost
council,
laughable.
former president, reached out to me. She said, Bob, what's going on with the safety corners program from the YMCA? Jim, what's going on? And it hasn't been physically located with an office at Brockton High. That changes tonight. There will be a location at Brockton High. Now, these are little things, but we have to come up with a mechanism.
Do you hear the mumbling in the background? The mumbling in the background is telling me they don't believe shit that is being said right now. They don't believe shit. Because you know why? This is something that has continued. And we went back. If you're just catching the stream now, go all the way back to the beginning of my stream and watch. I go through the history of this. This has been going on for what I can find out, 10 years so far. The buck has been passed. Conversations like this have happened. No action. Okay? This started, from what I can find out, 10 years ago. It's probably longer than that. Then a $14 million deficit. Oh, on security. We spent $14 million on security. Where's the security? Where's the security? And this is now what? This is almost 22 days ago, this conversation, this public meeting. No plan in place. I tweeted at the mayor of Brockton today. What is going to be the plan? You keep talking about this plan. What plan? What do you have in place? These people are crying in their community. These teachers are crying. They don't want to teach there anymore. They feel unsafe.
Look at everybody up here, and we all are here tonight to try to listen and learn, but we have to act, and we will act. So tonight, again, we have the superintendent and his team. Principal McCaskill is here to speak as well tonight. Again, we have Brockton police officers here tonight, and we have to come up with some mechanisms tonight.
You.
Because
not
what
you run the city. You're the mayor. You're the mayor. You need to come up with it, not we. You need to say, this is what's going to be done. I have contacted the governor. I have spoken with the governor. These are the things that we have put in place to discipline and fix and make sure that our students and our teachers feel safe teaching in our local schools. That's how you get a handle of it. No more of this. No more. People are tired. They don't want to hear that anymore. They want a solution, and they want it quick. That's why people have called for the National Guard, because you won't fix it. You won't do it. You are denying it now. They're done. These people are going to walk away. They're going to leave their jobs. They've already talked about it. Some teachers said, if it doesn't get fixed, I don't need the mental headache. I don't need my arm broken anymore. I'm out of here. How hard is this to get control? Because you know why? You have no clue. That's why.
Just said, we heard you all. We heard you all. And you know, there's an old saying, do what you can with what you have where you are. Well, where we are is right here. We have to act and we will act. And I'll tell you that as the mayor and as a Brocktonian, we're going to figure it out. We have to figure it out. We have to figure it out for the staff that works every day at Brockton High, but not just at Brockton High. There was something at West Middle School today too, right? So it's the middle school, it's the elementary school. It's all one pot. Tonight we'll talk about Brockton.
You have no control of your community.
High, but we have to continue to talk about every school in the city of Brockton. So I'm going to open it up right now to the acting superintendent,
Now,
Dr. Jim
pass it over
Probst.
to
Thank
him.
you.
Let him talk.
Thank you, Mayor.
This guy don't want to be up there.
School committee members. So as the mayor said, we've had several meetings the last couple of days, and we continue to meet. We met with the Brockton High School administrative team. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Okay, thank you.
No, no one's hearing you. That's the problem.
I said the same thing back in November. This is not an easy fix. You know, we now have a permanent principal, and I'll introduce Mr. McCaskill in a few minutes. We acknowledge there's no question about anything that everybody said tonight. You know, it's a fact. Brockton High School is in trouble. It has problems. Yes, there are good kids that are doing a lot of things that are going well. A lot of involved teachers.
I'm not laughing at the situation. I'm laughing at what's being said here. I'm laughing at what's being said here. It's sad.
It's not an overnight fix, you know, and every fix costs money, and that's just the reality. You know, the school committee, the school system over the past few years.
This gentleman's afraid. He don't want to be up there talking right now. They have no plan. He has no plan. You can hear the apprehension in his voice. He knows that they've lost control.
We managed to create a budget, or balance a budget, but it's always based on cuts, and it's always based on, you know, paring down the.
Where's the $14.4 million? Where's that? Remember, security.
The staff, and here's where we are now because of the cuts. You know, so funding is going to be important. Funding going forward now and funding for next school year is important. So we can't continue to balance the budget by cutting staff and cutting numbers. So that's the first thing. So any fix that we talk about tonight or going forward with all these meetings with the chief, Perez and everybody else, it's going to cost money. And I've heard we need to put more people in the hallway. We need to put more bodies there. We need more staff. Well, that's part of the solution. There's much more to it than that. You know, there's much more to the administrative team and their training and the school safety and security people that need to be trained. But, you know, just putting people out there in more bodies like we did last year with the bus drivers and everything else, you know, to walk around the hallways with a orange vest on and a radio was not necessarily the solution either. And that got us into a $20 million deficit last school year. So we have to work smartly.
Let me just say here, I think that we've established something. We've established something here. They don't know how to budget. They don't know how to balance a budget, and they don't know how to appropriate funds. So what would you do in that sense? If you are in charge of a financial process at your career, your job, let's say you're in control of the money in your organization, you set budgets, and these budgets constantly run over and over and over, and there's no progress to where this money goes, what would happen to you? What would happen to you? Where would you be? Where would you be? Yeah, you'd be fired. I would be fired. if they're paying me a salary and I'm not producing, let's just say in sales, they're paying me a salary, and let's say some company and I'm selling a product for them and they say, you have to make $5 million this year. If I'm in maybe the first year, I don't make quite that budget, but I got very close. Okay, well, let's look at next year. You're going to make $5 million. And say I go down. Let's say the first year I made 4 and I came in 3. They're probably going to fire me because I'm not making the budget. And this is where I look at that community. You need to wake up, people. Wake up. Local elections are very important. If these are the people that you continue to vote in to run your systems, the problem will never get fixed. There will never be a solution. There will always be excuses. And you will continue in that hamster wheel of the definition of insanity over and over and over and over again. And this is why I always said this, and I talk about this a lot. I talked about it yesterday in yesterday's stream. Local elections are super important. The national election, worry about your communities. Worry about the people that are running your communities. Worry about the people that are in charge of budgets. Worry about the people that are in charge of education. And believe me, I'm sure that some of these people that are on this committee and on these boards are fantastic people. And I'm sure they've got many things done across their career and done great things for whatever positions they've been in. But obviously right now, it's not working and it's failing. It's a breakdown of the system and it needs to change fast. Fast.
We have to fix this. There's no question about it. The fix will be with solutions from input from all of you. One of the things that came out of the meeting this morning with myself and Chief Perez and the school police is the creation of a BPS task force. And we're going to ask people from teaching staff, administrative staff, people from the community to be part of this, and other community partners that we like to work with to problem solve this, because it's not going to be an easy fix. So we'll also have parents and students involved in this, school administrators, safe corners, behavioral interventionists, guidance counselors, school resource officers, agencies, Boys and Girls Club, we'll call NUI, again, teachers. So the solutions, like we said in November, and Judy was, on the spot, it's like, it's November and what are we doing, So things improved a bit, but now again we changed administration. And we're still kind of in a fix it. What's going to happen next? So it's not an overnight fix, and it's like I said, we have to brainstorm and we have to meet other committees.
Now remember, 6 months ago, this was supposed to get fixed. 6 months ago, remember? Maya said, "Hey, we're going to jump in. We're going to start fixing this. We're going to budget money." And this is 2 weeks ago, and it's still not fixed. And now we're at the present day, almost a month ahead. And they had to have the emergency meeting on Monday from committee members that had to stand up and say, hey, we need the National Guard.
To figure out what the solutions are, what the funding will be for that,
Be right back.
And appropriate the funding. And as you know, we're still in the middle of a budget crisis because, quite honestly, we don't know what the 2024 budget is yet. We're still trying to fix all the problems from 23 and fix the budget for 24. And we've had a lot of meetings with the mayor, myself, and Vice Chair Ehlers, and the Troy, our CFO, and with our TJ, our open architects consultant. We're still really trying to, like we've done our part, I believe, on the city side, in the school side, with reducing expenses, monitoring expenses, not overhiring, but hiring where we need to, because we're in trouble legally with the state regarding providing services for students, particularly special needs students. So this is ongoing, and so we really still do not have a budget fixed for 2024, and we don't know if we're overspending, if we have the appropriate funds or not. So when we come up with solutions here, we have to be cognizant of that situation and decide as this committee and as a community, what are the priorities.
How do you like when your elected official says, we don't know? How do you like when your elected official that's in charge of education and budgeting says, we don't know? That's scary. That's pretty scary. Oh, we know about the overspending. We know about the deficit, but we don't know. We don't know how to fix it. This is insane and it's out of hand.
And I don't think there's any doubt about anybody's mind, the safety of students and staff at Brockton High School are priority. So how we get there, it's not an easy fix. There's a lot of sentiment from the community, from the teaching staff, and from the school committee.
Way over their heads.
You know, we're
Way over their
trying to
heads.
be solutions based, and some of the solutions, like I said, when we figure out what those are, and we can do some immediate things like putting more staffing in the corridors. We currently have I spoke to you back in November. We spoke about the 12 safety and security specialists. We have them on board. I think we need to do more training with them, and some of the comments about we share the same comments that we did today in the administrative team meeting about the safety and security specialists and the need for training, and
this guy
we'll work on that.
Nervous
And
scared.
I told you back in November that we're going to have 18 people, so we still have to hire 6 more. So
back in November, it's now January. That's almost 3 months because you're at the end of the month. Let's just say that meeting took place on November 1st. That's 90 days. 90 days have gone by and they're still in this situation. 10 years have gone by from my research at the beginning of the stream and they're still in this position.
So those people will be on board soon, working with Principal Casco to get those people on board and trained, and working with the school police and the police department to get those people trained.
Tyrone says, where are the Brockton real taxpayers? Are they blind or afraid to speak out? Come on, people, have some courage. Exactly. Exactly.
But we have to understand what the roles of those people's responsibilities are and duties, because they're not police officers. They're not going to chase students around the hallways. They're not going to tackle students and arrest students. They're not going to kick students out the door. So we have to be realistic about what those people can and cannot do. So they can lock and unlock bathrooms. Yes, they can help monitor the hallways. They can check with the hall passes, but you know, they're not police officers. And police officers I'm going to have the school police talk about what police officers' responsibilities are. Police officers are not school administrators. Their job is not to enforce a discipline code. Their job is to, to secure the building and protect the students and staff of the building. So you'll be able to identify the safety and security staff, because we've ordered jerseys for them, and I think they're red.
The jersey's gonna save it. When they wear the jersey, that's gonna scare everybody. You're going to be able to identify them. They'll have the jersey. It's going to scare. It's just going to, when they show up with the magical jerseys, that's going to fix everything.
Are the ones that we've ordered with the clear logo about the school's security staff. So those are some of the things that we're putting in place. And again, additional training for the administrative staff. People every day now, the students, we get reports on the students that I send out to the school committee about incidents that happen during the day and disciplinary actions that are taken. So the students are being disciplined, regardless of Chapter 222. We can suspend students, we can expel students, but there's a lot more of them than there are of us in the administrative staff at the high school. So it takes time to catch up with those students. It takes time to.
Wait a minute. What? I have to go back and hear that again.
What police officers' responsibilities are, but police officers are not school administrators. Their job is not to enforce a discipline code. Their job is to, to secure the building and protect the students and staff of the building. So you'll be able to identify the safety and security staff, because we've ordered jerseys for them, and I think they're red are the ones that we've ordered with the clear logo about the school's security staff. So those are some of the things that we're putting in place, and again, additional training for the administrative staff. People every day now, the students, we get reports on the students that I send out to the school committee about incidents that happen during the day and disciplinary actions that are taken. So the students are being disciplined, regardless of Chapter 222. We can suspend students, we can expel students, But you know, there's a lot more of them than they are of us in the administration.
So he's saying there's a lot more students versus there are of us. You need to hire more people. There's 4,300 students that walk the halls in Brockton High School. I would think in modern day, it's a little too much. That's a small college campus. Maybe there would be a solution to slice the school in half. I don't know. But obviously you need more people. You need more administration. You need more security there. That's why it's out of hand. It's essentially the inmates running the asylum. And I don't like to compare it to that, but I'm just using that as an example. I'm not saying that the students in Brockton hire inmates. So chapter 222, from what I'm reading, is school discipline law. Chapter 222 here in Massachusetts is the law allows students who are excluded from school or facing exclusion to make academic progress during the period of their exclusion through alternative education programs and services provided by the school district. Chapter 222, through the incredible advocacy of MAC School Discipline Coalition on August 6, 2022, Governor Deval Patrick signed a House bill into laws Chapter 222 as the Act of 2012. The law allows students who are excluded from schools facing exclusion to make academic progress during the period of their exclusion through alternative education programs and service provided by the school district. This law improves the fairness of the discipline process and reduces the number of duration of the school exclusions. So essentially, you're enabling bad behavior. The underlying principle of the law and regulations is to make exclusion from school a last resort, especially for all but the most serious offenses. Central to the new law, the regulations and the requirement for all offenses, if a student is to be excluded for more than 10 consecutive school days, the student district must offer the student alternative education services. In addition, for the offenses during the first 10 days of the exclusion, schools are required to assist the student to make academic progress despite absences from class. The law and regulations are required the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education to collect additional school discipline data from school districts, post the data, analyze the data, and follow up when schools exclude high numbers of students and when students of color or students with disciplinaries or disproportionary discipline. Yeah, it's just encouraging bad behavior. And then it comes down to, oh, well, we can't suspend people because that'll be racist. That'll be non-inclusive. We'll be leaving people out. Blah, 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 blah. No, how about disciplining your schools? How about not worrying about any of that? This is just spreading across all races, all walks of life. We stop worrying about that stuff and putting everybody out there on the level playing field. If you are participating in this particular type of behavior, you need to be disciplined. That's the problem with our society today. We're so worried about what we're going to be labeled if we do something to act and give consequences against bad people. I can't do that. It's racist. I can't do this because of that. They're going to label me this. I can't speak up because I'm going to be shied. I'm going to be shunned. They're going to cast me down. I'm the bad guy for speaking up. This is happening across all walks of life, across our nation. Black, white, whatever. Man, woman. But when we get out of that and we stop labeling people as all of that, and we just look at who's causing the trouble, and we come down to it and put a system in place instead of going, I mean, how do you feel when an elected official goes, I don't know. I don't know. We don't know. I mean, does that build confidence that the job is getting done? I don't think so.
Administrative staff at the high school. So it takes time to catch up with those students. It takes time to do the disciplinary process that's due. Those students, they have, even though they're swearing at you and they're running away from you and they're assaulting you, yes, they still have rights, and we have to follow the policy. Otherwise, they're going to come right back with, as many students that we suspend and send out, we get letters from lawyers from the families saying, my student, has rights, and you abuse the student's rights, and
Oh
we have
my
to be
God.
cognizant of that. And some of them are special needs students. So it's not a simple solution. It's not a quick fix, but we're going to work with all of you to come up with solutions that are immediate and some that are longer term.
We're going to work with you. That means we have no solution. We're going to turn it on you. I'm your elected official. I'm the person that's in power, but I don't know. I'm going to put it on you. You come up with it. But then when they come up with it, they don't want to put it in place. Makes sense.
Could we just a little bit of decorum, just please?
A little bit of
respect.
decorum.
Thank you.
So
How about
I
not getting your
understand, and
students
I
and your
thank you,
teachers
Mayor, but I
beat
understand
up?
the emotions are charged in this room, and they should be, and we all have felt this. And I was at the high school for 6 weeks, the beginning of the school year, so I know what you speak. So
you don't know nothing.
That's my opening, and I will introduce Dr. Wolder, Sharon Wolder. Nothing. She has not been feeling well. She's actually been out of work for a few days, and she really can't speak but very much. But she was there this afternoon to speak with the administrative staff at the high school.
He's like, yeah, you
so
take it.
You have to bear with it.
I'm out of here. Peace.
So after I use this microphone, you might want to clear it off
Mhm.
because I do not have COVID, just so you know. I tested this afternoon and I've tested 4 other times. So I know when you hear someone with a germ, it's a little scary, but I do not have COVID. So please just know that I am under the weather a little bit and losing my voice. Let me just say that some of you were teachers when I was the principal of Brockton High School. Some of you were students when I was the principal of Brockton High School. And we lived the change of the law. We lived it. It started in 2014. And in 2015, we instantly saw the impact of the law. We had kids who came before the school committee. Actually, some protested outside of the school and then came before the school committee, and they talked about their mental health needs back then. And the decision was to increase the number of school adjustment counselors. At the end of that year, we went from 4 adjustment counselors to 3. Fast forward to a new schedule. And so the schedule benefited a small number of students at Brockton High and left several students with a 6th period that we couldn't fill. Fast forward to where we are now. You still have a 6th period that we cannot fill. You have the number of teachers that it took for that schedule to work, we didn't have. It was at a time when the schedule changed and 40 teachers were cut. It was at a time when the schedule was changed and school adjustment counselors were cut. And so the idea was a new principal would be the answer for you. And so a new principal came into the school. The schedule didn't change. The cuts continued because it was the budget cycle we were in. And then COVID happened. And we went remote and we came back hybrid. And we came back hybrid to kids who were very different because the impact of social media while they were at home educating themselves for long periods of the day was significant. It was significant at a time that we could not staff ourselves to meet the needs of the children we are now educating. We can't. It is that simple. And so what happened? Several of these meetings occurred. Many of you came and spoke about the conditions of Brockton High School. Reactions were made, votes were taken, things were added, and then we get to our reality financially. And some of the things that we added last year before we could put a structure in place were taken away for this year. And so when I hear people say there's nobody monitoring the doors, that's correct because those people were taken away. When I hear that we now have 12 access control people in
You know why all that was taken away? They have no money. 14.4 million gone, unaccounted for. No audit. That's why. Overspent. Overspent.
The building that just came on, that is correct because they were taken away. When we talk about the number of teachers that we have in our classes that are highly qualified teachers, correct. When we talk about enrollment is going down because people are opting. You heard somebody say it here tonight. People are opting to have their children go somewhere else.
Private schools.
And so then a vote was taken to put our one school that gave kids an option to go somewhere else in the green building on the 3rd floor. And so when we're talking about these decisions, you need to think about the fact that if a student, and those of you, I hear people say all the time, I graduated from there. And if you're honest with yourself, Brockton High has never worked for every kid. And we worked really hard to develop some alternative options for kids that are all now located at Brockton High School. And so we have set ourselves up for a very difficult journey. And we have invited a principal in.
Yeah, you know what the ratio, the student ratio to teacher is right now? 60-1 in Brockton High School. You know what it's supposed to be as far as their I don't know what they call that, curriculum or sanctions. It's supposed to be 19-1. 60-1 right now. 60-1.
Well, like I said at the last meeting, the 3rd principal our kids have had this year. They didn't really have one at the beginning of the year because a superintendent cannot be a principal too, not in a district like this. And he did the best that he could, and we went in and did the best that we could to support him. But the reality was every single administrator at that school was brand new to their job. So you have no historical knowledge to figure out how to do the work. And then you have a superintendent who was never the principal of Brockton High, but is now supposed to lead a brand new group of people in how to do that work. And there was some excitement about, oh, a new structure. When the reality was we took away the structure and we didn't have time to build a structure so that we wouldn't be having this meeting tonight. That's the reality. Now, how do we move forward from there? Because we hear you. It is scary at times. When we say good things are happening for some kids, we have to acknowledge that because they have to live the stigma of being Brockton High graduates, the stigma that they have to overcome when a college is considering whether or not to take them, when a job is deciding whether or not to hire them. So we cannot let the only thing that this community hears about our kids be the negative things that happen. We have to face them, absolutely. But we cannot make that the story for every kid because you saw some students here who that is not how they're living, that is not the experience that they're having, and they're getting ready to step out into a world where they have to defend where they came from and where they graduated from. And so we have to make sure some of the good things that happen keep you motivated to show up, but we are addressing the things that need to be addressed. We have got to have a different location in a different place for students who say, this place is too big, I cannot function here, and my behavior, I keep saying to you, behavior is communication, yours and theirs and mine. It's all communication that something is wrong. And so we can suspend, yes, but we haven't addressed the problem, the root of the behavior. And the law says, and then they get to come back. Okay, so they come back, but we never figured out why they're acting that way to begin with. And so they come back. Do we expect them to be different people? We shouldn't. We really shouldn't. They'll grow up, as I said before, but it takes time. And how they're growing up and how they're receiving their education and how they're feeling in that space speaks to the way that they're treating each other and treating all of you. We have to figure out how to address that. And for those that this is not the space for them, but they deserve an education that is quality, we have got to be brave enough to revisit how we were developing those pathways so those students had other choices. They have no choice. And when they have no choice and they're telling you it's not working, which is why they're not going to class, which is why they're beating each other up, which is why they're disrespectful, then we have to figure out how do we really do this work? And I've said over and over, it costs more to educate kids now. It absolutely does, because we are responsible for their mental health as well as their academic success.
So where's the 14.4 million that ran over budget? We still don't have an audit for it. We heard about that last year. There was a whistleblower that came out and said in 2022, you're going to run over budget. They clearly ran over budget. Then they just found out, as in the beginning of the stream, we found out there was another additional $20 million. It was like, who's running the show over there? And then in the article, they say, oh, well, it was, we had to hire more teachers. We had to hire more to up our education. And it was on security. Security. And that was 6 months ago they talked about that. And you had Mayor Sullivan stand up and say, we're going to get this down. We're going to figure out what happened here. We're going to get this all under control. That was 6 months ago. And here we are in a meeting in January 31st, 2024, still dealing with the same problems. Your leaders have failed. All of these people that are in position of power and control of all of this have failed. If you're just joining the stream, go back and look 15 minutes ago how all these people on this committee are speaking right now. They have no idea. There's a quote from one of the people at the top. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know what to do. How does that make your community feel safe?
That costs more. It costs more in time. It costs more in resources. It costs more in the way that we come together and problem solve. We have heard the problem. We've talked about the problem. We continue to talk about the problem. It is now time for us to do something about the problem. Solve the problems that we can solve now and plan to make it better for the kids that we know. In September, they're not going to come back any differently because this didn't work for them. It is now the halfway point. We were just talking about if you have failed the first half of the school year, somehow we have to motivate you to keep going for the second half. And if you're in a full year class and you feel like you have no hope, showing up for that class is going to become more difficult. And I asked the administrators earlier, I said, how many of you actually didn't go to class at some point, missed several classes, and had to reintroduce yourself into that environment? You're more likely to avoid it than you are to face it. And that's what we have to start dealing with. How do we get them to face it? How do we give them options? And how do we give them hope? Because you're dealing with a bunch of hopeless kids who are now really
you're dealing with a bunch
starting
of
to
hopeless
create
teachers.
the environment that they want that's making you hopeless. And we can't live in that way. So I would say to this committee, we have to decide what we're going to do about cell phones, and we have to be brave enough to financially support it.
Financially,
I will say to you,
how do you say no cell phones? I
many
don't know how
of the
that is.
things that we
Why do you
took
have to
out of
financially
Brockton High
support
School
that?
because it costs money and it was people, when you hear that people can
Everybody,
just open the doors.
all I've heard out of, in all due respect to this, this woman here speaking, she just keeps saying money. We need money. We need money. We need money. You had $14.4 million. Where is it? Where is the money? You had almost $15 million at your disposal in a budget that is unaccounted for. Where is that money? And now we need more money. We need more money. We need more money. Where's the money? So we're just going to keep throwing money at it because the money is the solution. No, money's not solution. Discipline is the solution. Get in there and start disciplining. Get in there and start toughening the laws and the rules in these schools. If you don't want to be here, you're out. If you want to be productive, you're out. You're suspended. Goodbye.
Dr. Cobbs came with a proposal to put a security force in place for a while. We understand that financially there are some things that make it hard for people to make decisions, but we have been running a district without even knowing our finances. And so when we say, yes, we need to do these things, then tomorrow we need to do these things. Instead, we continue to come back and have the same conversation without knowing what the funding is. We have got to get to a place where it is okay, and this community is okay.
Yeah, right, James.
With this school committee and this city taking care of Brockton High School. If we don't do that, we cannot expect things to change. We have talked about a new schedule for next year, but if we don't have the staffing to support it, we are going to
Chapter
do the
222
same thing
also,
next year that we
Bob.
did 7 years ago and put in a schedule that we can't afford. So we really have to be honest about where we are going to prioritize the funding that we have in this district, how we're going to do it, and not just for the rest of this year and then cut for next year and the following year, because we will not be able to sustain the school or the district functioning the way we have been.
Thank you, Sharon.
Yeah.
So I would just like to add with Ms. Wolder's comment regarding the cell phone policy. We have a policy committee set for February 13th. And at that point in time, I will ask you all to vote to institute the policy that we discussed during the parent forum to implement the cell phone policy with the lock bags to take the students' phones.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why this is so hard. When you come into school, you just say this: you are not allowed to have a cell phone for whatever, what is it, 6-7 hours while you're here at school. Cell phone, stay home. If you're caught with a cell phone, we will take it from you and give it back to you. Or actually, we will take it from you and then you can come retrieve it on your own time. We will take your cell phone, put it aside, and then you can come pick it up on your own time. I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm a student and I had to sit in class for 6-7 hours a day and my cell phone was taken, and I knew at the end of the day I had to walk those long halls down to whatever, the principal's office or the office area to retrieve my cell phone, and probably stand in a line with 10 or 20 kids standing there, knowing that I want to get the hell out of that school as quick as possible when that bell rings, probably not going to bring my cell phone to school, because I'm not going to want to do that every day. So hopefully it's some type of policy like that. Cell phones are just not allowed in the building. That's it. Only teachers, required teachers, will have a cell phone in case of an emergency. Students are not allowed to have cell phones. Done. Over. Pretty simple. Simple solution.
We've gone through the parent discussions, we've gone through the forums, we relented, we gave them this policy that, like, again, you all say it, and it's true, we could never enforce because we never bought the products in the first place. We have to come up with the money to buy the products. We have to enforce
We got to come up with the money.
I'd like to see it put in place at the end of the
What's the quickest way to fix everything? We got to throw more money at it. We need the money. They had the money. They had money. They had 14.4 million unaccounted dollars. I cannot believe this. We need the money. You had 14.4.
Vacation. At the end of February vacation. So that soon, that quickly.
So at the end of February vacation, this policy of the locked bags and the cell phone thingamajigga is all supposed to happen.
And I don't think we need to do any further discussion for the community forum or anything else. At this point, I would like to introduce Mr. McCaskill, the principal of Brockton High School. I know you're only a few weeks in. So
here we go.
I know you've been only 4 weeks in almost, and it's in the hot seat. But
guys, like, get me out of here.
And we don't expect you to come up with miracle solutions standing here tonight. Just really introduce yourself and the work that you've done with the administrative team, and just kind of getting used to getting your head around the organization and the school.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. First and foremost, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hope everyone's doing well, and thank you for having me, first and foremost. And again, they've accepted me as the principal over at Brockton High. The reception has been fantastic, and I mean that sincerely. The students have been nothing short of phenomenal, and I think it's more of my size than anything else that's doing that. But I just like, again, Dr. Cobbs, I thank you, tremendous. Thank you for the opportunity. Also with the school committee of really being supportive, and the teaching staff and the administrative staff. And again, it's been roughly 3 weeks. And again, in 3 weeks, I think I've had probably a doctorate of an education for not only the city of Brockton, but also Brockton High School. but it's something that really brought me here to Brockton. I know folks, you know, I'm not going to go on a diatribe about my background and all the other things, but I shared this with a couple of school committee people, but I've also shared it with many staff members. Brockton seems like home to me. I don't live in Brockton. I was not a boxer, although I did some boxing in Paterson, New Jersey.
Hagler.
But it's something about Brockton that reminds me of my home city of Paterson, New Jersey. It's something about Brockton that reminds me of the city in which I raised my family in Springfield, Massachusetts for over 30 years. It's something about Brockton that reminds me a little bit of Boston, where I currently reside. But each and every day, I feel the pulse and the heart of folks in this city. That the high school is the lifeblood of this city. And I truly believe that that high school is the jewel and will be the jewel of this city. But I spoke to Dr. Cobbs upon my hire, and I said, you're not hiring Superman, because Superman does not exist. One person doesn't make change. And I think I shared that with the staff last Thursday. It's going to take a lot of hands, a lot of hands, a lot of tears, a lot of sweat, hopefully not too much blood, to really make systemic changes going forward.
No more blood.
And I know it's tough, and hearing those, you know, sitting on the side, and again, being so, you know, being relatively new and hearing that, I still believe that this is possible. And that's not a pipe dream. And the reason why I said I don't like to lose is, ask my mother, I'm a sore loser. Every school and every district improved, but it didn't improve just for MCAS. It improved the lives of every single individual in that school and in that district. And that's a commitment that I want you to hold me to.
Yeah, James, it's going to take a lot of money.
I use the analogy when you buy a house as is. You know, when you buy a house as is, well, you owe all the taxes that the previous owners didn't pay. The hole in the roof, that's yours. Well, this is my house as is. I'm proud to own it. But watch the repairs. Watch the repairs. And not to get up here and get, you know, just, you know, have a hallelujah time, but some of the things that we spoke about, I know with the meeting with the mayor, Dr. Cobbs, and the police as well. You know, one of the things, I said this with at the staff meeting on last Thursday, one of the quick fixes for us was reinstituting the in-house suspension room. And that's something which gives you some immediacy on the behaviors that you're seeing, especially with skipping. And that's simply a model that was at, again, it's nothing new. It was at the high school. We're just bringing it back. Will that solve every single? No, but it'll curb some of the behaviors. We are going to hire an additional administrator for the Green Building, which I think will help tremendously. Dr. Cobbs also alluded to the hiring of 6 additional safety and security specialists, in which we will ask for a collaborative approach to train these individuals and have a refresher with the current group as well.
And keep in mind, this is like 2 weeks ago. This is almost a month ago. And, you know, I don't want to get down on Kevin. I don't want to get down on the new principal. He sounds like he's a very well-spoken gentleman, has a vision, but he's got to put it into place. And I get it. He's only been there 3 weeks, and a lot of weight is on this gentleman's shoulder. I can't put it on him. We can't do that. Watching this, we can't do that. It is the people before him, or the people that are there on this committee that have been there. It is their responsibility. He can only give suggestions at this point and guidance, and then get those things into action that he speaks about. He sounds like a fine gentleman. He's speaking very well. But we got to give him a little bit here. Listen, he's come under extreme pressure right now. I like him. He's well-spoken. I think he's got a little bit of a vision here. It's the first one that stood up and actually gave us some type of vision, right? He's got to get some credit here. And who knows? We don't know the politics that he's dealing with right now behind the scenes. But at least he's standing up there with some type of vision. I'm sorry, his last name, McCaskill. Kevin McCaskill, the new principal, Brockton High. Right. He deserves credit for trying. He's got a little bit of a plan here. Everybody else stood up there and went, "We don't know. We don't know." I'm not going to get down on him. But let's hear what he's got to say.
Thank you. Really looking at utilizing our community resources. I know Safe Corners was mentioned today, but also what other opportunities to partner with other community organizations to really, and one of the things is getting volunteers. And one of the volunteer groups that has been very successful in 3 other districts is really looking at men in the community to mentor some of these young men who are causing
fatherless homes. Comes down to fatherless homes. You know, there's statistics out there that show fatherless homes. You can look it up. Fatherless homes.
most of the difficulties within our school.
I like the approach.
If they are church and faith-based, we're utilizing them. If they are former military,
I like his
we're
approach.
utilizing them. But really get them, first of all, get them quarried so we can get them inside the school, but really give them an organized structure on what the expectations moving forward. But I look forward to the work with all of you. I look forward to supporting, but also look for your support of a new principal who needs to know more. My door is always open. I think some folks have definitely used it, but I'm really looking forward to next, not 1 year, not 2, as long as it takes. This is it for me. This is truly my last stomping grounds. And Brockton's the ideal place to do it. So I'm so proud to sit here and address you today, and I look forward to our work together. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you know, Tyrone, I got to agree. He's the first individual that stepped up today and actually had some type of plan. You know, it sounds hopeful. And I hope he's on the I hope he can get it together. Now, again, this is almost a month ago. And unfortunately, we're at the action on Monday when we had that press conference from the 4 individuals on the committee that stood up and said, we need the National Guard. So, you know, and you can't put it on Kevin McCaskill's back. He's only been there 3 weeks, 4 weeks, probably almost, you know, a month and a half. But I'll tell you right now, in this meeting, he's the only one that has a vision and has a goal. And it seems like he really cares. I mean, he could just get in here right now and say, peace, I'm out of here. Let's listen a little bit more, and then we're going to wrap this one up.
So at this point, we'll open up to the committee. What's the will of the committee?
I didn't know if you wanted the police officers to
Oh,
speak.
sorry,
Or
yeah.
did you want to open up to the committee?
Oh, I want to hear
Yes.
what the Brockton police have to
Questions
say.
now? Absolutely. Why don't we open it up?
They're lost. Look at,
Ms.
they are
Zizek, please.
scared.
Thank you so much.
That's your
I'm not
mayor. That's your superintendent. They are scared.
Going to speak for the rest of the members, but I think I just want you to know that I feel like I failed, many of you, because we're here tonight.
And this is one of the young ladies that spoke up at that meeting on Monday, the press conference on Monday.
We've heard from a lot of you, but after listening and seeing teachers cry, we're going to have answers. We're not going to, I don't think we need to wait till the 13th.
Yeah.
We have a policy in place.
Yeah.
Why can't it, we have a meeting on the 6th. You know, we have a policy in place. What I found on the committee is all we do is we talk about things and we plan things. Let's get it done. And no offense, it's just, we're dealing with a lot, but it's time that we get things done. We've listened to the parents, we've listened to the students. Actually, a lot of us have heard from students. And when you have students telling you we need to enforce a policy, we need to enforce a policy. We have policies in place. It's time to enforce them. And it's all about safety. So that's why we're here tonight. This couldn't wait until the next meeting. You know, a few of us started talking about having an emergency meeting because we don't want to wait till there's a fatality. Then we're going to do something. Let's try to work
She's right.
with our staff, with our students, and with our families.
They need leadership.
We're not going to solve it overnight.
They need leadership. They need someone to step up and go, hey, I'm stepping up.
And this didn't happen overnight. We all understand that, but The cell phone policy is going to be a tough one, but other districts already have it in place. And I have family members that are not in the area, but you see the cell phone in their pocket. It goes right down to the principal's office and they pick it up at the end of the day.
There you go. I talked about that. Remember I talked about that? Come get your cell phone at the end of the day. What student is going to want to do that repeatedly? They're going to want to bomb out of that building when that bell rings at, I don't even know what time it rings at anymore. Is it 1:30 still? I get out at 2:10 at my high school. But they're going to want to bomb out of there. They're not going to want to go down to the principal's office and pick their phone up every day and have to stand in line with 10, 20 students in line doing all the same thing.
It's tough for those that need to reach their students, their children, things like that. I understand. But we have to work with the teachers. We have to work with safety, get things into place. But I just wanted to say that we're going to push. We need answers. We need things done. And as far as if we don't have to wait till the 13th, we can always amend. You know, we can suspend the policy and just vote on what we need to on the 6th. We could always amend that agenda rather than wait till the 13th. Let them know once we're back from February vacation, this is in effect.
So I will have the revised policy ready for the next meeting on the 6th.
Thank you.
And none of it got done. That's why they had to have the emergency meeting on Monday. I mean, the
membership, when the agenda gets drafted this week, and I work with Melinda, we'll add that on. That will be on the agenda for next Tuesday, 7 o'clock, and again, we'll be here. Thank you, Ms. Azek. Any other questions at this point for anything?
I want to hear from the Brockton Police
For anybody
Department.
that spoke, or for Dr. Cobbs from the membership? Mrs. Sullivan, and then we'll go back.
I just wanted to talk a little bit about the teachers. Okay, I had some calls from teachers and notices that when they call for help, their buzzers don't work. I was wondering if we could get that worked on. And also some of their phones don't work. If the teachers can't call for help, we really need that fixed.
Yeah.
ASAP.
Yeah, I'd say.
Okay. Kids to the office, when they call down for kids, someone's supposed to escort the child and no one's there to escort. We really need to get this, this is immediate. I know there was a restructure with previous superintendent and he had some ideas coming in. He also had an executive team that knew about what the restructure was and could pick up maybe. I mean, I know we're missing a very strong person in him. We had the Champion City mentors in at all? Or I know we had them in the past. No?
No. That was Mr. Williams' organization, Champion City.
I'm going to fast forward because I just want to hear from the police department, and then we'll wrap this one up.
When they were trained.
If they have an issue.
Visitors, I was taking my notes, and we don't know unless somebody tells us. So why were keys taken away? Why were they taken away? And
Captain Housley, would you like to speak to that? Can you come
Captain,
up to the microphone?
if you don't mind, please coming up here, because I think that was news to all of us.
Discussion we had today, actually.
I mean, the keys was one of my questions is we don't know. But again, our teachers and our staff need to be able to secure, but we have master keys. There's a master G key, isn't there?
So
I know
he
for
can
active
speak to
shooter, when they were getting trained, an active shooter, when they were trained, they want to do a lockdown. They don't want so many keys out there. I'm sure we can work with it, but I don't know if we want to give all these keys out. If there's an active shooter, someone gets over a teacher and gets a key, they can open every door because it's a regular key for everyone.
Right.
As Lieutenant Mills was
Same
telling
key
me.
for every classroom.
And that was one of the safety issues when they took their training. They don't want all these keys out there. That was part of it. I don't know what the best, it's half one way, half another.
And if you lose a key, then it can be compromised. Absolutely.
That was their failing at the time when they did the training. That's who trained them.
We had this discussion.
I know all the school police.
Blame it on everybody else, right? It was the trainer. It was the trainer's problem.
Were trained. Was that part of their training?
Yeah. Here you go, Brian.
That was under a different police chief. So why don't we have Chief Perez and we'll
Yeah,
address
she
it.
is.
She did.
Yep.
She was looking at
Okay.
I like that idea,
let's do that,
Brian.
because I think that's extremely important. I don't know why you'd have a master key. You should have, I think, individual keys for individual classrooms.
Door locks, I would assume.
Right.
Well, we need to look into it.
We do have different key systems. The administrative keys are different. There's the Grand Master key, like the one I have, but the teachers' classrooms are not individual keys. They're the same key. It opens any classroom.
That was the problem.
Let's get Curtis over there, right?
Well, captain's here and the other captain, any questions of the membership at this time?
question was just about the keys. And then I know when I've been at the high school and I've been in the yellow IRC with Miss Tucker and her students working on some of the donations, I had students come up to me and tell me kids are.
Or how about this? Fingerprint scan. They do it at local hospitals. Fingerprint scan to get in. What are they going to do? Cut your thumb off and you get everybody's fingerprint registered? I know that at some businesses you may work at or your career, you have a fingerprint scan. They put you in. It's pretty simple technology that we work with. Or how about this? Something that's digital that works with your phone, a digital pass key that only teachers will have allowed on their phone. Now I get it. Someone could get a hold of their key, but I think the fingerprint scan would be great. Pretty simple technology now. It's not that hard. Badges, the only thing with badges, Tom, is someone could get a hold of it. Fingerprint, they're not going to get a hold of that. What, are they going to cut your thumb off?
So, leaving and bringing their friends back in immediately. Can we have somebody stationed at the Belmont Street doors? I'm sure we can find probably 3 people to, the yellow door, the red door, because that's the door that they take to go to McDonald's, Taco Bell, to head out that way. So if we can immediately, starting tomorrow, have somebody stationed there.
Yeah, James, they need money.
That's going to slow them down.
14.4 million.
They're going to have to reroute how they get out. At least we're not going to make it easy for them.
6 months ago, we're going to look into this. We're going to figure it out. I'm going to get an audit. We're going to figure out where it all went. Where's the money? Where's the audit?
Not sure about the rest of the committee, but that's a very, very busy, busy location. Right, that door, it's the easiest path to get to Belmont Street. So I know, like I said, I know we can't fix these issues right away, but that could be a temporary fix until we can get more of our safety trained and on board. Because that's a busy location, and then probably the fine arts. Where are the busy areas?
Yes.
Okay, fine arts, and then the yellow and red doors. Jim. They said the gym.
Jim.
Not Jim as a person. Jim as
The gymnasium.
Gymnasium.
Not James Cobb.
Oh, sorry, Dr. Cobbs. I never call you
Well,
Jim,
that's
Dr.
why
Cobbs.
in Eastside High that Joe Clark locked the doors. They put chains on the door. Remember, put chains on the door. If the fire department comes, they had walkie-talkies, and I mean, you can't get away with that now, but they chain locked the door because there were students that were letting people in from the outside. Remember, Jim.
It's true. That's why I was surprised.
Thank you. The gymnasium.
Well, before I go back, just for follow-up and for process, any other questions? We'll go to Ms. Oliver, and I won't forget you. I just have to go to a new membership.
We all set with Captain Housing.
Any other questions for Captain at this time?
No.
Thank you, Captain.
Sit down.
As a new member and also a parent that has kids in the school system, I hear you. I completely hear you, and I'm on your side. But right now, I'm asking the parents throughout Brockton, it's time to take accountability. Because raising our kids starts at home.
Yeah.
And how we raise
Look at
them is a big factor.
Holy shit, an hour and 44 minutes into this meeting, and this young lady finally gets it. This is the moment we've been waiting for in this whole meeting. She finally gets it. She had to be the one that said it. I mean, I said it yesterday, and I haven't been at these meetings, but I talked about it this morning too. It all starts at home. It starts in the community. It starts with getting the right thing out there to your young people and letting them know. And I said this and I question it. Parents of Brockton, do you know where your child is right now? Do you know where they are? It only took 2 hours to get to this, people. It only took 2 hours to get here, but we finally got it. Maybe we can get Rita to go down there and speak. We'll get Rita to go down there and speak. All right, let's hear what she has to say. I like her tone already. Here we go.
As a new member and also a parent that has kids in the school system, I hear you. I completely hear you, and I'm on your side. But right now, I'm asking the parents throughout Brockton, it's time to take accountability. Because
Thank you.
raising our kids starts at home, and how we raise them is a big factor how they're treating you guys. And I don't appreciate any of the bad words. I don't appreciate any of them attacking. As a mother, I will make sure my
Zesty, I'm gonna answer that. She says, "How often do you visit Brockton? You're judging parents that you have no idea about." I'm gonna tell you this: I don't go to Brockton very often. I've been to Brockton often in the past. I used to spend a lot of time there in the '90s because there was a club that I used to go to called the 121, and I played there many times in a band. So I'm familiar with the area. I'm familiar with this, and I think it's kind of out of line that you would say that I'm judging parents that I have no idea about, because it doesn't just, particularly if you've listened to the broadcast here today, if you listened to my live stream, it doesn't particularly happen just in Brockton. This is happening across the United States. And clearly, and this is kind of I'm going to say it's kind of a mute point that you're bringing up in your argument, because if you are paying attention to anything that is just going on in this particular situation, okay, and for you to come back and say that I am judging parents that I have no idea about, obviously those parents are not doing their job, okay? Because if the parents were doing their job, their kids would not be in school beating other children, sending other children to the hospital, disobeying the rules, fighting with teachers, breaking teachers' arms, disrupting any way they want, leaving, dealing drugs, doing drugs, having sex, and there's a multitude of other things here. So I think that you bringing that up and saying that is kind of silly. It's kind of a silly point. So I do have the right to judge it because this is clearly out in the open. It's public and it needs to be known, not only just here in Brockton, not only here just in Massachusetts, across our great nation, because we are not spending enough time policing our schools, implementing discipline, and getting back to what this is really about. And it's about education. It's about educating the parents. It's about educating the community. And most importantly, when you send your kids off to school, about educating them, okay? And making sure that they are protected. You have people now that are in the roles of being teachers here that don't want to teach here anymore. That's how bad it has gotten at this school. That's how bad it's gotten there. That's how bad it's gotten there. And if the parents were doing their job correctly, if the parents knew where their kids were, if their parents knew who they were hanging out with or what they were doing at the school, then this shit wouldn't be happening. We wouldn't be in this position right now where 2 days ago at a press conference, 4 committee members of the 7 stood up at a press conference and said, we need help. It's not getting done. We need the National Guard here to police the situation. They're calling for the National Guard. Calling for the National Guard. It's out of control. And no one has a plan. Clearly, if you've been listening the last 2 hours here, no one has a plan. They literally had a committee member that stood up, that's someone that's a position of power right now, and said, we don't know. We don't know what to do. We don't know what to do.
my child is accountable
This
for
is my
their
diatribe.
actions. Because none of my child will ever touch any teachers, and that's the first thing I teach them. And right now, I'm speaking to the parents of Brockton. You need to take accountability for your kids' action.
So
because
it's okay if she says it, but if I say it, I'm bad. Okay.
none of these teachers deserves to be touched. None of them deserve to be called the F word. None of them deserves the attitude and the mistreatment they're getting. And I do stand with you guys.
Zesty,
and
I think you're
we'll
way
work
out.
across the aisle
You're
and make sure
way
we get
beyond.
things fixed. And that's my promise to you.
I'd love to hear your solution. Type it with that. Let us know your solution.
You're right. It's a partnership. It's not, we can't do it by ourselves.
Exactly, Jay.
You can't send your students to us for us to fix them. We're here to educate them. We'll help them adjust socially, emotionally. But we're not parents. We can't. And I dare say that I don't think any of them say those words in their household to any of their parents or any of their elders in their community.
Oh, I missed that. What was that?
A parent. We can't. And I dare say that I don't think any of them say those words in their household to any of their parents.
I gotta rewind this a little bit.
You're right. It's a partnership. It's not, we can't do it by ourselves. You can't send your students to us for us to fix them. We're here to educate them. We'll help them adjust socially, emotionally.
You can't turn your children over to us to fix them. We're only here to educate them. Well, what is education? What is education? Education is teaching. Education puts in place things to fix people. That's what education is. That is the most hilarious statement that I've heard in this whole meeting so far.
But we're not parents. We can't. And I dare say that I don't think any of them say those words in their household to any of their parents or any of their elders in the communities. And so,
Any other members that haven't spoken have any questions right now?
Jesse, please let us know how you would fix this. Please let us know how you would fix this. Coming from coming from someone that says that they're not a liberal, please let us know. We want to know in the chat. How would you fix the dynamic? What would be your dynamic solution to this problem? I would love to hear what you have to say.
Or comments? Seeing none, I'll go back to you, Mrs. Sullivan, please.
I was just also wondering if Principal McGaskill and Dr. Cobbs and the executive team could work on an administrative chat, whereas the teachers know who's responsible for this, who's responsible for that up at the high school.
absolutely.
I know because of the restructure.
Well, it's to pass the buck.
I'm just asking to work with you, and so we need that because I know there was a restructure and the roles weren't clearly defined because of what happened with the budget and everything, and we lost some strong people.
Yes, Sully.
So
Mayor.
if we can work on that admin chat for the high school, who's responsible for what?
God, they don't even
And
have
Mr.
admin
McGaskill
chart.
is new.
That is crazy. There's not even an admin chart up there. I mean, for crow's sake, I've worked for businesses that are not even a huge, large-scale business, and they have an admin chart to know who is who and what is what. That's a fundamental in business.
So Dr. Cobbs and the executive team, he's going to need a lot of help with
You
that.
can do that. Absolutely.
Yep. Thank you.
Follow up with Ms. Azak, please.
I apologize, but a couple of things. I know we're still waiting on the Enforce 911.
She knows that nothing's getting done. That's why 2 weeks from now, because it's on the 31st of January, we'll back up 2 days. That's why she was one of the ones that spoke up during the meeting on Monday, the press conference on Monday, because nothing got done in this 2 weeks after this meeting.
So I know we're still waiting on that. That'll help once we can get that program into our schools. We're talking about the high school, but it's not just the high school. We get these calls. We get the calls every day. It's the middle school. And we need to start with the middle school to get them prepared that this is not acceptable when you get up to the high school. Let's not wait till they get to the high school. The cell phone policy should also be for the middle school as well. Middle school into the high school,
So
if you train them.
if I could speak to that, I've talked to the middle schools. I've been to the middle schools and talked to the principals, and I just saw Dr. Connors almost jump out of her chair. The cell phones are not a problem at the middle schools. They know at the middle schools that the phones are away. They don't use them all day. They are not a problem for the most part at the middle schools.
But if they're not a problem right now, then let's not wait till they get to the high school.
Well, yeah, you're right.
But those are our experts.
Yes. Elementary schools too, right, exactly. Dr. Connors. Okay. Point of order.
Pardon me. Thank you. Dr. Connors, Assistant Superintendent 6 through 12. Sorry, I'm not going to blame Ms. Holder for my stuffiness. Have we seen cell phones at the middle schools? We have, but not to this extent. There were 2 students. We've been on walkthroughs. There's some members of this audience who've been in the middle schools, who work at the high school, who can attest to the fact that across 7 of our middle schools, they maybe saw 2 cell phones in all of their walkthroughs of the math classrooms, and they were both using the calculators on their phones. Have we had incidents with cell phones at the middle schools? Yes. But the policy as it stands for Brockton High and what Brockton High needs versus the middle schools is very different. When that 6 through 12 cell phone policy came out this summer, the principals reached out to me and said, that policy actually undermines the work that they're doing. It actually gives the students more freedom. absent of the yonder bags, right? Because your policy actually allows students to use them at lunch. Our principals in middle schools don't allow that in their schools.
Yeah.
So it's very
Can be there at
different. So
all.
I would ask that we not make a blanket 6 through 12. I'm here to support what, but that I ask that we not just say it has to start in the middle schools until we have the data that actually says, here are the problems. Our infractions at the middle schools are different. We are seeing an uptick in the wandering and the problems that you're having at Brockton High. Those are some things we need to focus on what is the cause of that behavior and what do our students need so we can mitigate that. So I just want to caution about, again, blanket policy for the cell phones.
Right. The policy that I will introduce is a high school policy. It's not just Brockton High School policy.
A 9 through 12 policy.
9 through 12
Understood.
policy.
Thank you.
All right,
Any
we're
other
going to do about
additional,
another
questions or comments at
10
this-
minutes or so, and then I do have some things I need to do this afternoon. I got to wrap this up, but I'll be back tonight about 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I know Resistance to Silence has a live at 7 p.m., so I'd appreciate my Karen Reed supporters to go over and check out their channel and support their stream tonight. And then I'm going to fire up a stream about 8 o'clock and, give them some space to stream and talk what they want to talk about. It will be all things Karen Reed and Turtle Boy, of course. And then I'm going to fire up a stream about 8 o'clock and just go over some of the events that have happened over the last couple of days and just letting everybody know it's going to be a very interesting week in the Karen Reed case. And Turtle Boy will be actually returning on Friday. And not sure if he's going to have a hearing on the 26th now that we know that Karen's hearing is pushed down to 9 o'clock on February 26th. Interesting times here. So maybe I can get some more information about it, but we'll talk about it a little later on tonight. Let's do this. Let's finish up about another 10 minutes, and then we're going to call this one.
It's time for anybody that spoke this evening from the administration side or law enforcement. Mr. Rodriguez, please.
Oh, I'm sorry, can I just speak to the, Joyce, you mentioned the enforced 911 policy and the procedure product that we're working on with that. It's still in progress. It's a lot of work trying to make sure we identify
That's you.
who's at every school so we can put them on the alert system. But the enforced 911 program, it's not, I'm not sure what you think it is, but it's an active shooter program for the most part. It's an alert system that if there's something going on in the school that we can, administrators can alert.
You're welcome.
These police or first responders, and it's an interactive. It's different than just an alert system, because if you're in the building and you opted in, or the administrators have the app on their phone, it alerts the 911, alerts the school police, alerts the fire department, but it's interactive. Once the alert's sent out, then we can alert the whole district. But it's interactive. You're in the classroom B206, for example, and you hear something going on, or there's a shooter, and you can say, yeah, you can communicate back and forth saying, I'm in this section of the building, this is where I heard this, what's going on. So it's really an alert system and an interactive alert system, which is different than all the 911 systems that we currently have. So it doesn't do anything else as far as student discipline or enforcement. It's really an active shooter.
No, this is very important. This is very, very important. Look at the things that we live with in our society today. Active shooters, disruptions, assaults. People shouldn't have to put up with this. And I mean, the end solution here is just plain old discipline. And I don't know why everybody's so afraid to discipline nowadays. These are children. You're molding the future of our existence. And if we don't get the good values instilled inside these children that are up and learning, that may be running our country someday, where are we going to go from here? And listen, I don't want to sound like a boomer. I'm just being a realist. Everybody's not an influencer. Everybody's not a YouTube celebrity. Everybody's not, whatever it may be. We don't live in AI. We don't live in a virtual reality. People need to come back down to reality. Parents need to parent. Stop handing your kid a fucking tablet all the time. Spend some time with your children. I know that's the easy solution. You know, we heard about it years ago. You know, turn on the TV, the babysitter. Have you ever seen the cable guy? The babysitter was always there. But this is time. Let's get back to core family values. And I know people are going to watch this and go, shut the fuck up, you boomer. But it's just reality. We're failing. We're failing in our systems, especially our educational system. This can stop. I mean, look at now. You have people in power that are not educated, you know, enough to be running the situation that they're in. They have no idea. The gentleman that was just speaking said, we don't know. That's bad. That behavior is going to continue. It's never going to change. And now, fast forward 2 weeks from this meeting, you had a meeting 2 days ago where the 4 committee members stood up and said, we need the National Guard. It shouldn't get to that point. Where is the governor? I haven't heard anything. And I'll tweet at her today when I get off air. What are you going to do? Where is the solution? What is the plan? But this is the things that we need to start speaking up about. This is the future of our country. This is the future of our existence. These children, these kids. We need to come bring everybody back down to reality. Violence is not the solution. All right, let's play a little bit more of this meeting. I'm going to do about 4 more minutes of it, and then we're going to wrap up this stream. Here we go.
Or an incident alert system that's interactive with the first responders.
When it was presented to the safety committee and then presented to the committee as a whole, it was more of an internal and external alert system. So say a teacher or someone is having an issue in their classroom, they can send a message down
That's
to
true.
the office.
Inside the building, you're right.
Yeah,
That's
they can
true.
interact internally. You know,
That's
a
true.
fight broke out over in the,
That's
this
true.
area.
That's true.
So I think it helps, especially if I don't know why phones and intercoms, I know our systems are old, so I know getting parts to get things to work has been an
Fix
issue.
the system.
Not just
Put a
in
new one
Brockton High,
in.
but,
You had $14.4 million at your disposal. Where the hell did that all go?
we had hand radios, those that if we know someone's intercom systems are not working, it's a safety. It's a safety issue, not only for our teachers, our staff, and for the students. But the Enforce 911, when it was presented to us, you could go on and
That's true.
send an alert.
But
You know, I have a
under-
fight, there's an issue, or
But understand that, you know, and we had, you know, meeting with the 2 of the union presidents regarding this and had
This
answered
guy,
questions.
always full of
It's
excuses.
an alert system that's on the phones and PCs for the, you know, that are owned by the school district. If a teacher or somebody in a building chooses not to opt in and have the app on their phone, then they will not get alerted. They will not be able to interact and say within the building or anywhere else. So it's an opt-in.
How about
system
making it
except for
mandatory?
administrators and for any device.
How
owned
about
by-
doing this? If you're going to work here, you're going to have to, part of your agreement in your contract is this. Simple solution. I'll fucking step in and do it. If you're going to work here in the school, you're going to have to download the app and be part of the alert system. Real simple. If you can't abide by that rule here, this part of your contract, goodbye. We don't need you. But we got maybe if some of the teachers want to happen, they're going to have the alert. Or how about this? At the beginning of every day, you will pick up a walkie-talkie, or you have a walkie-talkie that it's assigned to you. You will always have constant communication. If the fucking system in the school, the phone system throughout the school doesn't work, it's very easy to provide a solution to that. Spend a couple of $100 and go buy a walkie-talkie system. Easy. Solved. Problem solved. We don't need to wait for parts. We need to wait for a phone line to come. We don't need to have Verizon come and run new lines. Simple solution. You got a walkie-talkie.
By the school district.
Oh my
Okay.
gosh.
Yeah, I understood it. I'm not sure. I think Mr. Rodriguez was
So
on
frustrated.
the safety
Mhm.
subcommittee with me. I understood it more as it's an added source of being able to
You're
reach out to
correct.
the office?
In that sense, you're correct.
Because
Within the
sometimes your
building.
phones might not work, you might not
Right.
have service in
Get
certain
a
areas of the
walkie-talkie.
school.
But again, it's an opt-in unless the teacher's on their laptop
Yeah,
or their PC
Nextel
or in their
phones, remember?
classroom, then
Beep,
they
beep.
can interact
Okay.
with the system. Yes.
Two-way system.
All right. And where are we with that?
We're still again part
Yeah.
of the finance situation that we're still situating who actually belongs to what building, and we sent all.
Here, I'll help you out, bro. I'm gonna help you out. Ready? I'm gonna help you out. Ready? Let's see. Two-way walkie-talkie. Ready? Okay. I can go on Amazon right now, and spend $206 and have 20 pack of two-way radios. $206. $206 right now. I'd have a 20 pack of two-way radios.
All the things out to the principal through surveys, and they responded. So Sarah Butler at the finance
Remember
office
the
is
Spider-Man
still
walkie-talkies?
sorting that out.
Those
So
would work.
and we need that information to go to Enforce 911 so they know who's in the building and who can be alerted. And again, then we can reach out to them and say they want to opt in with their phones, and they will. But it'll be on their PCs again and their laptops in the building. So that's where we are. We're still uploading, gathering and uploading that information. So.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Izak. Ms. Rodriguez,
Do you
please.
feel would you feel confident coming out of this
I just want
meeting?
to touch up on a
Look at
few
she's
things.
so disappointed.
She's
She's so disappointed. Look at her body language.
Again, part of the finance situation that we're still situating who actually belongs to what building, and we sent all the things out to the principal through surveys, and they responded. So Sarah Butler at the finance office is still sorting that out. So and we need that information to go to Enforce 911 so they know who's in the building and who can be alerted. And again, then we can reach out to them and say they want to opt in with their phones, and they will. But it'll be on their PCs again and their laptops in the building. So that's where we are. We're still uploading, gathering and uploading that information. So.
Look at the body language.
Thank you, Ms.
Look
Izak. Ms. Rodriguez, please.
on the camera
Hey,
pan.
I just want to touch up.
Look at her body language. She's done. And that's why she was one of the 4 that stood up on Monday at that press conference and called for the National Guard. And that's where we're at. I would love to continue this. We're going to do a part 3 on this one. I would love to spend more time, but I have regular life things to do before my next stream here. So, we're going to continue this, and we're going to play this, and then we're going to play the most recent one as well. I'm not backing down from this. I will continue to chirp about this, and I will continue to get eyes on this. I am not backing down. And maybe when TB gets out, I can start, maybe if he wants to participate in this and dig around a little bit. We'll both dig in the dirt and see what we can find. Maybe we can bring this some awareness to all of this. Ridiculous. And we know how passionate he is about education because he was a teacher. So maybe I can have a conversation when TB gets out, and we can go relentless on this. We can go relentless on this. But it's just disgusting what's going on. You need a quick solution, man. The system has broken down. It is broken and it needs to be fixed. Let's do this, everybody. If you all can do me a favor on the way out and please smash the like button. I'd love to get to about 100 likes. Let me just check where we're at. It is free to do that. If you haven't, we're at 77 likes. Come on, we can do better than that. I need 100 likes. Let's get this out into the algorithm. We'll bring in more people to be able to be aware of what's going on in Brockton High. And then also what I'm going to do is, there is a meeting tonight at 7. I did see that, but it's a financial meeting. I'd be curious. Maybe I'll pop up and stream that. I don't know, but I don't really want to do that. I have something else planned tonight. Maybe we'll go back and review it. Also, please, there is a link there, Resistance to Silence YouTube channel. If you're all part of the Free Karen Read movement, some of you are, some of you not here in the room. If you are, please go over and support them at 7 p.m. They have a live stream. Give them about an hour, and then I'm going to pop up at 8 and do my little regular show. Karen Read, we'll talk that tonight. All the things that are coming up, all the things that have happened, and I would appreciate that. But please smash that like button on the way out. Or if you're just coming into the stream and you're watching this on replay, smash the like button, leave a comment down below. Please make sure to subscribe to LTL True Crime. I do appreciate it, and I will see you all hopefully back here in a few hours. If not, I'll see you all soon. Take care. Have a great afternoon, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye.
LTL True Crime, we going deep in the dark. Yeah, peeling back the layers, expose the hidden them up. From the streets to the alleys where the secrets lie. Getting into minds of the wicked, no alibi. LTL True Crime, unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL True Crime, unveiling dark realities of the crime. Unraveling the web of evil. No stone left unturned. We dive into the crime. Yeah, we digging up the dirt, bringing justice to the crime. LTL True Crime, unveiling dark realities of the